Guyana in the Caribbean. Lush and mysterious rainforests, white and sunny island beaches, right? But how much do we really know about the history and culture of this region? Join us and together we'll go on a voyage of discovery.
Trinidad and Tobago, the 2025 change in government. Trinidad and Tobago, a vibrant twin-island republic in the southern Caribbean, has long been a significant player in the CARICOM region. It is known for its energy-rich economy, diverse culture, and robust democratic traditions. However, like many nations, it has faced a complex array of political, economic, and social challenges over the past decade. The recent parliamentary elections on April 28, 2025, marked a pivotal moment, ushering in a change of government and signaling a new chapter for the nation. Hi there and welcome to another episode of the Aaron Darcy Project. Here is where we take a closer look at matters of interest to the people of Guyana and the wider CARICOM region. I'm your host Emma, and today's topic is the recent change in government in the Twin Island nation. What does it mean for the people of that country and for the wider Caribbean region? Join me as we explore this topic on the Aaron Darcy Project. In today's episode, we will delve into the political landscape of Trinidad and Tobago over the last 10 years, examining the major parties, key policies, and pressing issues that define the era. We will then analyze the implications of this recent change in government for the people of Trinidad and Tobago and for the wider CARICOM region, exploring potential shifts in domestic policy, regional integration, and international relations. Let's examine the political landscape and look back at a decade under the People's National Movement from 2015 to 2025. The decade leading up to the 2025 general election was largely dominated by the People's National Movement, PNM, led by Dr. Keith Rowley. Having secured victory in the September 2015 general election, the PNM unseated the People's Partnership Coalition, which had been led by Kamla Persad-Bissessar and the United National Congress, UNC, since 2010. The PNM's win in 2015, securing 23 of the 41 parliamentary seats, marked a return to power for the party, which has historically been a dominant force in Trinidad and Tobago's post-independence politics, often drawing strong support from Afro-Trinidadians and Tobagonians. The PNM's tenure from 2015 to 2025 was characterized by efforts to navigate a challenging economic environment, largely shaped by fluctuating global energy prices. As a significant producer of natural gas and oil, Trinidad and Tobago's economy is highly susceptible to these external shocks. The Rowley administration focused on fiscal consolidation, attempting to reduce reliance on energy revenues through diversification efforts, though progress in this area proved challenging. Policies aimed at improving the ease of doing business and attracting foreign direct investment were pursued, but the country's GDP growth rate experienced fluctuations, with a notable decline in 2020. The key policy areas and challenges faced by the PNM government over this decade included economic management and diversification. With declining natural gas production and volatile oil prices, a central challenge was to stabilize the economy and reduce its heavy dependence on the energy sector. The PNM government emphasized diversification into areas like manufacturing, tourism, and the creative industries. However, critics often argued that these efforts did not yield sufficient tangible results or create enough sustainable jobs to offset the decline in energy sector employment. There were also concerns about limited financial incentives for further exploration by oil and gas operators, with few awards given to bidders during offshore auctions between 2015 and 2022. Rising crime rates, particularly homicides and gang violence, became a persistent and pressing concern for the population. The PNM government implemented various anti-crime initiatives, including increased police presence and legislative measures. Towards the end of their term in late 2024, then Prime Minister Keith Rowley even issued a state of emergency in response to spikes in violence, granting expanded powers to security forces. At the time of creating this video, the new government has reinstated a state of emergency in the Twin Island Republic in order to control the same violence experienced under the previous administration. However, the effectiveness of these measures in addressing the root causes of crime, such as illegal arms inflows and drug trafficking, remained a subject of intense public debate and dissatisfaction. The Keith Rowley administration faced scrutiny regarding issues of governance and transparency. While efforts were made in areas like constitutional reform, concerns about corruption and accountability continued. Reports of financial mismanagement within state entities, such as the Water and Sewerage Authority, also surfaced. The government also grappled with social issues, including public sector wage negotiations, protecting pensions, and addressing unemployment. While some infrastructure improvements were made, the rising cost of living remained a significant challenge for many citizens. A controversial ruling by the Court of Appeal in March 2025, overturning a high court decision that had decriminalized consensual same-sex relations, also highlighted ongoing debates around human rights and social conservatism within the country. The relationship between Trinidad and Tobago, particularly regarding Tobago's quest for greater autonomy, remained a recurring theme. The January 2021 elections for Tobago's House of Assembly resulted in a tie, leading to legislative action by the national PNM-led government to enlarge the body to break the deadlock. This demonstrated the complexities of managing the unique political aspirations of the sister island. Throughout this decade, the political arena remained largely bipartite, dominated by the PNM and the United National Congress, UNC. While other smaller parties emerged, the first-past-the-post electoral system made it difficult for them to gain significant parliamentary representation, though the Patriotic Front, led by Michael Aponde, showed some impressive strides in the 2025 election. Voting patterns, while evolving, often continued to reflect ethnic lines, with the PNM typically drawing support from Afro-Trinidadians and the UNC from Indo-Trinidadians. The general election on April 28, 2025, saw a decisive shift in power. The United National Congress, UNC, led by Kamla Persad-Bissessar, secured a landslide victory, winning 26 out of the 41 parliamentary seats and surpassing the 21-seat majority threshold. This outcome unseated the PNM, which retained 13 seats, and marked the beginning of Persad-Bissessar's second term as Prime Minister, having previously held the office from 2010 to 2015 as the country's first and only woman Prime Minister. The Tobago People's Party, TPP, secured the remaining 2 seats in Tobago, making it the first time in over a decade that Parliament would have representatives from 3 different parties. The election results reflected a significant shift in the nation's political landscape, with the UNC gaining over 25,000 new votes, while the PNM lost around 100,000 votes compared to the 2020 elections. Voter turnout was 53.9%, slightly lower than in 2020. The UNC's campaign focused on promises of a 60-point anti-crime plan, raising public sector wages, protecting senior citizens' pensions, creating jobs, and revitalizing key public services. Their slogan, "When UNC wins, everybody wins," aimed to project an inclusive vision. The change in government also brought a historic moment for women in Trinidad and Tobago's politics, with Kamla Persad-Bissessar as Prime Minister, President Christine Kangaloo, elected in 2023, and Penelope Beckles chosen as the leader of the opposition, marking the first time women concurrently hold all 3 top political offices. The return of the United National Congress government under Kamla Persad-Bissessar carries several significant implications for the domestic landscape of Trinidad and Tobago. Number 1. Renewed focus on social welfare and public services. The UNC's manifesto and campaign promises heavily emphasize social welfare programs, public sector wage increases, and improvements in essential services. This suggests a potential shift towards greater government spending in these areas, aiming to alleviate the rising cost of living and address social inequalities that have persisted. The stated intention to reopen the Children's Hospital and invest in healthcare facilities indicates a renewed focus on public health. Number 2. Aggressive stance on crime and security. crime remains a paramount concern for citizens. The UNC's 60-point anti-crime plan signals a more aggressive and potentially multifaceted approach to tackling gang violence, illegal arms trafficking, and the drug trade. This could involve enhanced collaboration with international partners like the United States, the United Kingdom, and Canada for maritime interdiction capabilities and technical assistance. The effectiveness of such a plan will be crucial for public confidence and national stability. Number 3. Energy sector policy adjustments. While Trinidad and Tobago's economy remains heavily reliant on natural gas, the new government faces the challenge of declining production and the need to tap into new reserves. Prasad Bisesar's administration is expected to prioritize fast-tracking the development of commercially viable natural gas fields, potentially through tax concessions and subsidies to encourage investment from oil and gas operators. There is also an expressed interest in diversifying the energy matrix by investing in renewables, positioning Trinidad and Tobago as a potential leader in green hydrogen, onshore and offshore wind, and utility-scale solar. This dual approach aims to secure energy revenues while gradually transitioning towards a more sustainable energy future. Number 4. Governance, transparency, and accountability. The UNC's campaign emphasized transparency and accountability. Given past criticisms regarding governance under both major parties, the new government will be under pressure to demonstrate a commitment to these principles. This could involve strengthening anti-corruption measures, enhancing public access to information, and ensuring greater oversight of public funds and state enterprises. The constitutional reform proposals, including term limits and fixed election dates, could also gain renewed momentum under the new administration, depending on their political will. Number 5. Economic outlook and diversification efforts. The new government inherits an economy still grappling with the effects of global energy market volatility and the need for diversification. While oil and gas will remain central in the short to medium term, the success of the UNC's economic policies will depend on their ability to attract sustainable foreign investment beyond the energy sector, foster local entrepreneurship, and create a more resilient and diversified economic base that generates jobs across various industries. The challenge of balancing immediate social spending demands with long-term economic restructuring will be significant. Number 6. Social cohesion and ethnic politics. Trinidad and Tobago's politics have historically been influenced by ethnic voting patterns, primarily between Afro-Trinidadians, often supporting the PNM, and Indo-Trinidadians, often supporting the UNC. The UNC's landslide victory, with its "When UNC wins, everybody wins" slogan, suggests an attempt to transcend these traditional lines and foster greater national unity. How successfully the new government addresses the concerns of all ethnic groups and promotes inclusive policies will be critical for social cohesion. Trinidad and Tobago is a founding member of CARICOM and one of its largest and most economically influential states. A change in government in Port of Spain inevitably sends ripples throughout the Caribbean community. Trinidad and Tobago has historically played a leading role in CARICOM, particularly in areas of energy security, trade, and financial services. The return of Kamla Prasad Bisesar, a seasoned regional leader, could inject new dynamism into CARICOM's integration agenda. Her previous tenure saw active engagement in regional affairs, and her emphasis on international partnerships suggests a continued commitment to multilateralism within the Caribbean context. The new government's approach to regional trade agreements, free movement of people, and common market initiatives will be closely watched. As a major energy producer, Trinidad and Tobago is crucial for CARICOM's energy security. The new government's plans to fast-track natural gas development and explore renewables could have direct implications for regional energy supply and pricing. CARICOM member states often rely on Trinidad and Tobago for petroleum products and natural gas, and any shifts in production, pricing, or export policies will affect their energy costs and stability. The emphasis on renewable energy could also position Trinidad and Tobago as a partner in regional renewable energy initiatives. The new government's foreign policy will be vital for regional stability. Prasad Bisesar's stated intention to strengthen relations with the United States, particularly on security and immigration, aligns with broader U.S. interests in the Caribbean. This could lead to increased cooperation on issues such as combating transnational crime, illicit trafficking, and regional security initiatives, which would benefit the entire CARICOM bloc. The approach to Venezuela, given the ongoing regional complexities and the Essequibo dispute with Guyana, will also be a critical area to monitor. While Trinidad and Tobago has historically maintained pragmatic relations with Venezuela due to geographical proximity and energy ties, any shift in stance could have broader regional implications. Trinidad and Tobago's economic health directly impacts CARICOM's overall economic performance. A more stable and diversified Trinidadian economy could lead to increased intra-CARICOM trade and investment. The new government's policies on trade, investment, and support for regional businesses will influence economic cooperation within the common market. Efforts to boost non-energy sectors could also create new opportunities for regional partnerships and supply chains. CARICOM faces numerous shared challenges, including climate change, food security, and public health crises. The new Trinidad and Tobago government's commitment and approach to these issues will be significant. Their investments in renewable energy, for instance, could serve as a model or a source of technical assistance for other island states vulnerable to climate change. Their stance on regional food production and agricultural cooperation will also be important for CARICOM's collective food security agenda. The recent change in government in Trinidad and Tobago marks a significant moment for the Twin Island Republic and the wider CARICOM region. After a decade under the PNM, the return of Kamla Persad-Bissessar and the UNC signals a potential shift in domestic priorities, with a renewed emphasis on social welfare, an aggressive approach to crime, and a dual strategy for the energy sector that balances traditional fossil fuel production with a push towards renewables. The challenges are formidable, particularly in diversifying the economy and ensuring that the benefits of any economic growth are widely shared among a population grappling with the cost of living and security concerns. Regionally, Trinidad and Tobago's political transition is likely to reinforce its role as a key player in CARICOM. The new government's commitment to regional integration, its approach to energy policy, and its diplomatic engagements, particularly with the United States and Venezuela, will have direct implications for CARICOM's energy security, regional stability, and collective foreign policy. As Trinidad and Tobago embarks on this new political chapter, its success in navigating domestic complexities and fostering inclusive development will not only shape its own future, but also influence the trajectory of cooperation and progress across the Caribbean community. The region will be keenly observing how this change in leadership translates into tangible benefits for its people and strengthens the bonds of Caribbean integration. And so we all eagerly await the first moves by this new Trinidadian administration on the chessboard of regional and international politics, for indeed all that happens here in our own Caribbean region does have wider implications. The CARICOM region is fast becoming a center of attention for several very powerful corporate and political blocs. Caribbean leaders have to be very careful that they do not allow themselves to become overwhelmed by this attention. Our political and civil leaders must continue to ensure that the resources of each and every country are harnessed for the benefit of all the people of each of these countries and the Caribbean region as a whole. Well, that's it for this episode of the Aaron Darcy Project. We hope you found it interesting. Please share your thoughts on today's topic. Let us know what you think. Thank you for joining us today, and we certainly look forward to your company on the next episode of the Aaron Darcy Project. Goodbye for now.